In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about what I look for in a stock before I invest in it. And now this list is actually quite long, so it does change between different indexes as well as between different stocks. So number one is, do I use that specific company myself? So for example, do I use TD Bank? I do. And in my opinion, TD Bank is an absolute fantastic investment because we have all, at least at some point in our lives, paid a bank fee. We can get paid back by their dividend. Their dividend is 3.6%, which means that they will be paying me about $3.16 per share throughout the entire year, split up quarterly. They're a very solid company to invest in because they are very liquid. You can get in and out really easily. And their PE ratio, which is their price to earnings, is extremely low when you start comparing that to other Canadian banks. Now, I'm going to give you a very good word of advice. You cannot compare different companies in different sectors and their PE ratios because, of course, you'll see Tesla at 600. Meanwhile, you'll see TD at 11.29. You'll say, well, TD is so cheap, I need to buy it. Well, guess what? It is cheap when you compare it to other stocks like Royal Bank, which is RY, or CIBC, which is CM. They're cheaper than those stocks right now. However, they are also not the highest dividend either, but none of the banks as of the last year or so have been able to raise their dividends. So at this point, I'm looking at, for the banks, their potential earnings growth into the future, their dividend, their PE ratio. Those are the things that I'm looking for in a stock like TD. TD also has a nice growth record. Now, of course, they did trade sideways for a few years. They did have a massive downturn recently because of the virus. And they do show that they've had a history of raising their dividend. Now, of course, they can't raise their dividend over the past year or so, again, because of the virus. And they have solid earnings. Every quarter they beat analyst estimates. And now, of course, 2020 wasn't exactly a great year, but they did get higher earnings on less revenue, which is something that I really do like. Now, meanwhile, that's something that I look at when I start looking at blue chip companies. Companies like Apple, for example, is another great company. I own Apple. I am using an Apple computer right now to be able to record the audio and, of course, the graphics of this video. I am also using an iPad with an Apple Pencil to write my lines on top of all of the things that I'm showing you today. I have an iPhone. I am an Apple person. It's a love-hate relationship. I like them. I also hate them. So, from there, I do and don't invest in their company. Now, in the past, I have invested in Apple, and I have done quite well. However, now, when I invest my money, if I invested into Apple, it's through an ETF right now. I'm not buying specific American stocks other than a few. For example, the next one I'm going to talk about, which is Crispr. Crispr is a very, very interesting company. I have huge hopes for Crispr. Of course, at the time of making this video, it's up absolutely massively. We can see that spike. It's doing extremely well. Its beta is 2.25, which is something that I sometimes look at, which means that if it's a 1, that means that it goes up 1 point for every 1 point the stock market goes up. And of course, if it's 2.25, every 1 point the stock market goes up, it goes 2.25 on average. However, that is not why I personally invested into Crispr. Crispr is the future of our health. Crispr is able, and the company itself is able to edit your DNA so that you just don't get sick in the future. So as of right now, companies, and I'm saying companies because there's a few like Intellia and Crispr, which is CRSP on the stock market, and the idea behind Crispr and all of the other Crispr stocks is the technology behind it. So the technology is called Crispr, and from there they are able to go into your DNA and they are able to essentially cut out the bad part of your DNA. So let's call this your DNA. And let's say this portion right here says that you are going to get diabetes at some point in your life. They can cut that out and they can replace it with another strand that does not have that underlying gene that says that you are going to get diabetes. Now, I mentioned diabetes and cancer when I start talking about a stock like this because those are the things that influence my family. I've had family members who passed away from cancer, and I've had a lot of my family members who have diabetes. So between those two things, that is why I really like this stock. It's really showing, and recently it's gone up massively because in pre-testing, stage 1 testing of some different types of, I think it's sickle cell or cancer or some kind of a thing, that they are actually able to essentially cure it, which is huge. Now, think about it. All these people who are dying because of cancer, they could literally get it caught before they even get it and edit their DNA so that they just will not get cancer in the future. That would be life-changing to literally the planet. And if this can continue to the growth, not financially, but the knowledge on how to make this work continue, this stock not only will skyrocket, but people will be able to live longer and healthier. The future for the technology that's in this stock is the ability for us to essentially live forever. Our telomeres in our DNA get shorter, which is what creates aging. If we can either artificially keep them long by using this technology, or just have the ability to change our DNA so that those strands just do not get shorter over time, well then guess what? We can live healthy, 100% healthy, like if we're 30 again, forever. So because of that, I would love to live forever. And I think that this stock could be the massive future behind humans being able to live easily past 100 years old. So it does have some nice, fantastic future growth coming to it. Of course, when it comes to the beta, it does not pay a dividend, and I am personally a dividend investor, but it does have a high volume of trading, and I believe highly in this kind of research. I really want to see people live longer and healthier. Of course, we've seen this spike. There's going to be another spike. I can almost guarantee it when more of these stage 1 and stage 2 trials come to an end, and if they are positive, it's going to skyrocket. But until then, it's going to be choppy. There's going to be long times of just no growth. There's going to be times of spikes that go down to nothing again. However, this is not a 6-month or 2-year plan. This is a 20-year investment that I would rather invest my money here than donate it to cancer research, because they are doing the exact same, and I am essentially this way donating my money to hopefully grow in the future, but allowing the specific company that I believe is going to be the one who has the ability to actually fix things, instead of giving it to a charity that can distribute my money to 100 different places. I would like it to be very linear, as in this company or Intelia or maybe even ARCG, which is an ETF that holds most of them, will be able to distribute my money where I feel like it's going to have the most benefit. Now, these are the things that I look at in an investment: the dividend, the solid company, or a possible growth company that I really believe in. Tesla is another massive growth company that I have a lot of belief in. So because of that, that's where I put my money. Most of my money, 90%, is in solid stuff like TD. 10% is in companies like Crispr and Tesla, where I call them casino bets, but at the same time, I believe in the technology, I believe in what they're doing, and I invest my money that way. I hope that this video is kind of giving you an idea of what to invest in. Now, of course, don't trust any random person on the internet. Always do your own research before you look at companies. I hope that this video has helped you. If it has, hit that like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys again next time.